For 86 years, the Boston Red Sox lived in heartbreak. None worse than Aaron Boone's walk-off homer in Game 7 of the 2003 American League Championship Series. The curse of the Bambino loomed larger than ever. But in 2004, everything changed. Before we dive into one of the greatest comebacks in baseball history, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss stories like this one. After a humiliating 19-8 loss at Fenway, the Red Sox found themselves buried in a 3-0 hole against the Yankees. Hopeless, destined for more misery. No team had ever come back from such a deficit. The story seemed written. But the Red Sox refused to turn the page. What followed wasn't just a comeback, it was baseball history rewritten. Baseball rivalries don't get any bigger than the one between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. For most of us, we believe it's not just a competition, it's a war of cultures, cities, and legacies that span over a century. By the time the 2004 ALCS rolled around, this rivalry was already deeply embedded in the DNA of Major League Baseball. Indeed, it was a chapter of redefinition for Boston's legacy. For the Red Sox, the pain of losing to the Yankees wasn't just about the present, it was about history. If you're familiar with the infamous curse of the Bambino, you would know that shadow is cast over the Boston Red Sox for over 86 long years. On the other side, the Yankees, with 26 World Series titles at the time, had established itself as one of the most successful franchises in baseball history. They weren't just winners, they were the standard. At first, Game 1 of these two teams was a perfect representation of why the Yankees were baseball's gold standard. With some like veteran pitcher Mike Mussina, he took the mound and delivered a performance that felt like a statement. This is our house. Through the first 6 innings, he was untouchable, retiring the first 19 batters in order, flirting with perfection. And again, by the 4th inning, New York was up 6-0. The game seemed over before it began. But then something interesting happened. In the 7th inning, the Red Sox finally showed life, chipping away at the lead. And to maintain their lead, Mariano Rivera, baseball's greatest closer, shut the door in the 9th, and the Yankees walked away with an 8-7 win. After that was Game 2. It was a display of cold, calculated execution by the Yankees. Pedro Martinez, Boston's fiery ace and the man who had once called the Yankees his daddy, took the mound, but New York wasn't intimidated. The Yankees chipped away at him, and in the 6th inning, John Olerud launched a 2-run home run that gave New York the lead. From the very beginning, they battered Red Sox pitching, putting up runs relentlessly. It was a complete beatdown. By the 4th inning, the Yankees had an 11-1 lead. Boston became unable to comprehend what they were watching. No team in baseball history had ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit. The Yankees weren't just winning, they were crushing Boston, making sure the Red Sox knew exactly where they stood in the pecking order of baseball. And yet, as bad as things looked, the Red Sox still had one thing going for them: their belief. David Ortiz believed. He said after Game 3, "We still have a chance." Most people laughed at the idea, but Ortiz wasn't wrong. What happened next is the greatest comeback in baseball history. The game didn't start well for Boston. The Yankees took a 2-0 lead in the 3rd inning, and the weight of history pressed down harder. But the Red Sox weren't ready to fold. They scratched back, tying the game 2-2 with a pair of RBI hits from David Ortiz and Trot Nixon. The tension inside Fenway was unbearable. Red Sox Nation wanted to believe, but history had conditioned them to expect heartbreak. Then, in the 6th inning, the Yankees did what they always seemed to do in October. Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez sparked a rally, pushing New York ahead 4-3. The Red Sox entered the bottom of the 9th trailing, with just 3 outs separating them from another year of disappointment. Enter Dave Roberts, a role player with blazing speed. He was on the Red Sox roster for one reason: to steal bases. Roberts took his lead off first, every muscle in his body coiled like a spring. He wasn't just running for a base, he was running for history. Then, in one electrifying moment, he was off. Yankees closer Mariano Rivera fired a pitch to home, but Jorge Posada's throw to second was just a fraction late. Safe. Fenway erupted. It wasn't just a stolen base, just 90 feet, but it felt like a crack in the Yankees' armor. Moments later, Bill Mueller smacked a single up the middle and Roberts came flying around third, sliding home to tie the game. Fenway went into a frenzy. The Red Sox were alive. The game dragged into extra innings, the weight of history making every pitch feel monumental. Then, in the 12th inning, David Ortiz stepped to the plate. On a 2-1 pitch, Ortiz launched a ball deep into the Boston night, sending it soaring over the right field wall. Walk-off home run. Game over. Boston had done it. They had beat the Yankees. They had survived. It was just one win, and they were still down 3-1 in the series. But at that moment, something changed. The Yankees had been invincible. Now they looked vulnerable. And the Red Sox, they believed. After the emotional high of Game 4, the Boston Red Sox were still standing, but just barely. They were still down 3-1 in the series, still facing elimination, and still up against the New York Yankees, a team that had tormented them for generations. But something was different. The stolen base, the comeback, the walk-off. The Red Sox had cracked the Yankees' invincible aura, and now they had a chance to make history. For the second night in a row, the Yankees grabbed an early lead. By the 6th inning, they were up 4-2 thanks to a key hit from Derek Jeter and a clutch double by Bernie Williams. For Boston, it felt like deja vu. The Yankees were always in control, always one step ahead. But the Red Sox had David Ortiz. In the 8th inning, with the Red Sox still trailing, Ortiz stepped to the plate with a chance to spark another comeback. Boom! A deep blast into the bullpen. Fenway roared to life. Boston was within one run, and belief started creeping into every corner of the stadium. Then, in the bottom of the 9th, the Red Sox did it again. Jason Varitek lifted a sacrifice fly, scoring Dave Roberts. Yes, that Dave Roberts, and tied the game 4-4. And what followed next was an all-out war between two teams that refused to break. Inning after inning, both sides had chances, but neither could deliver the knockout blow. In the 12th inning, the Yankees loaded the bases, but Boston's pitcher Tim Wakefield escaped trouble. In the 13th, Red Sox batters fought off pitch after pitch, trying to outlast the Yankees' bullpen. By the 14th inning, the weight of exhaustion was setting in, but Boston wasn't done yet. At nearly 1 o'clock a.m., after 5 hours and 49 minutes of baseball, David Ortiz stepped to the plate once more. The Fenway crowd was drained but desperate for one final moment of magic. On a 2-2 count, Ortiz lined a single into center field. Johnny Damon sprinted home, sliding in safely. Game over. The Red Sox had won. They had survived again. Now the impossible didn't seem so impossible anymore. The Red Sox had forced a Game 6. The Yankees looked stunned, and the baseball world started asking a question no one had dared to ask before. The Yankees lost confidence. The Yankees fans who had been chanting 1918 just days earlier now sat in nervous silence. In the top of the first inning, Johnny Damon led off with a single. Minutes later, David Ortiz, who had already played the hero twice, launched a 2-run homer into the New York night. Boston was up 2-0. Then in the second inning, with the bases loaded, Damon delivered the dagger, a grand slam into the upper deck of Yankee Stadium. 6-0, Red Sox. A stunned silence fell over the Bronx. This wasn't supposed to happen. Boston's pitcher Derek Lowe delivered an incredible performance, keeping the Yankees' offense in check. Meanwhile, the Red Sox kept adding on. By the fourth inning, they led 8-1. The Yankees, a team that had crushed Boston's dreams so many times before, had no answers. By the ninth inning, the scoreboard read Boston 10, New York 3. Boston had done it. They had won. They had become the first team in baseball history to overcome a 3-0 deficit. The players stormed the field. The Red Sox fans who dared to travel to Yankee Stadium erupted in joy. Decades of heartbreak, of Aaron Boone home runs, of Bucky Dent nightmares, it all faded away. After their historic triumph over the Yankees, the Red Sox rolled in to the World Series. This is where they faced the St. Louis Cardinals, a 105-win powerhouse. Boston didn't flinch. Game 1, Boston's bats exploded, securing an 11-9 victory. Game 2 saw Curt Schilling, with his ankle still bleeding from his heroic American League Championship Series performance, dominate once again as the Red Sox won 6-2. Game 3 belonged to Pedro Martinez, who silenced the Cardinals with 7 shutout innings in a 4-1 victory. Then in Game 4, with one final masterpiece, the Red Sox completed the sweep, winning 3-0. When Kevin Folk tossed the final out to first base, the celebration erupted. For the first time in 86 years, the Boston Red Sox were World Series champions. The curse of the Bambino, the legend that had haunted the Red Sox for nearly a century, was gone. The 2004 ALCS wasn't just a victory, it was a defining moment in baseball. The Yankees, once the unbeatable juggernaut, had been humbled on the biggest stage. David Ortiz cemented himself as one of the most clutch players in Major League Baseball history. The Red Sox went from underdogs to champions, and their fan base was forever changed. And perhaps most importantly, the rivalry itself would never be the same. Before 2004, the Red Sox were a team that always almost won. After 2004, they were something else entirely: champions. It was the end of one era and the beginning of another. The Yankees' reign of terror over Boston was over. So there you have it, the greatest comeback in baseball history. The 2004 American League Championship Series wasn't just about baseball. It was about resilience, belief, and proving that no lead is ever safe. But let's throw this to you. Where does this rank among the greatest comebacks in sports history? Do you think we'll ever see a baseball series as dramatic as this again? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into baseball history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more incredible sports stories. See you in the next one.